In almost every human civilization ever studied, eating alone was considered a form of punishment. Not preference, not convenience, not a busy Tuesday, punishment, exile, disgrace. The Romans did it to criminals, the Greeks did it to social outcasts. Across pre-industrial cultures on every continent, a person who ate by themselves, separated from their community, consuming food without ritual or witness, was a person who had done something wrong or lost something essential or been cast out. We are the first humans in history who do it by choice, every single day, and call it normal. In the last 100 years, without a single decision being made, without anyone voting on it or debating it or realizing it was happening, we quietly dismantled the most fundamental social ritual in human history. And then we wondered why everyone felt so alone. To understand what we lost, you have to understand what eating together actually was, not culturally, but biologically. Humans are one of the only species on Earth that routinely shares food with non-relatives. Most animals, even highly social ones, compete for food. The shift to cooperative food sharing is one of the defining moments in human evolution, so early, so deep, that the neural systems it built are still running in every person alive today. When you eat with other people, your body does something it doesn't do when you eat alone. Cortisol, the stress hormone, drops. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, rises. Studies measuring meal duration find that people eating with one other person eat 33% longer than people eating alone. With 4 people, 75% longer. With 7 or more, the meal nearly doubles in length. This isn't about conversation, it's more fundamental. The human body, in the presence of trusted others around food, relaxes at a hormonal level in a way it simply doesn't otherwise achieve. It signals this is safety, this is the correct condition for nourishment. The food and the people are not separate inputs, they are one experience. Your ancestors didn't need a study to tell them this. They built entire civilizations around it. In ancient Greece, the symposium, the word we now use for academic conferences, was originally a dining ritual with precise rules governing who sat where, who spoke when, and in what order food and wine moved around the room. It was not a party, it was a social institution, the primary mechanism through which Athenian men conducted philosophy, maintained political alliances, and established who belonged to which community. To be invited was recognition, to be excluded was a form of civic death. In ancient Rome, the convivium, literally living together, was the formal meal, and its seating arrangements were a precise map of the social hierarchy. Where you reclined communicated your rank, your relationships, your obligations. Emperors used dinner invitations as political instruments. Cicero wrote about them with the same strategic attention he gave to Senate votes. To eat with someone was to make a statement about who you were to them. In West Africa, the tradition of eating from a shared communal bowl was not poverty. It was a deliberate social technology for maintaining equality and trust within a group. In the Middle East, to share bread created an obligation that extended beyond the meal. You did not harm someone whose salt you had eaten. The meal was a contract. Every culture that has ever existed built elaborate ritual architecture around eating together, because every culture understood, without being told, that the meal was the primary technology of social cohesion. What ended it was not one decision, it was 4 inventions, each of which seemed reasonable in isolation. The Industrial Revolution moved work outside the home for the first time, making the midday meal, historically the largest, most communal meal, impossible to coordinate. Lunch fractured first. The individual kitchen, which spread through the middle classes in the 19th century, made it possible for a single person to prepare food for themselves without communal fire or communal labor. Before individual kitchens, cooking required cooperation. Cooperation implied sharing. The individual kitchen made solitary eating logistically possible for the first time in history. The refrigerator, introduced at scale in the 1920s, made it possible to store individual portions, eat at different times, and treat food as a personal rather than communal resource. Before reliable refrigeration, food was prepared and consumed together partly because there was simply no alternative. Both realities pushed toward the shared meal as the only practical option. Television finished what the refrigerator started. The TV dinner, introduced in 1953, was not just a product. It was a cultural proposal that eating could be individual, private, and passive. That the meal didn't need to be an event, that food was fuel and the real activity was something else entirely. Each of these changes solved a real problem. Each of them quietly removed one more structural reason why people had to eat together. And nobody noticed because each step felt like progress. Here's what the data looks like on the other side of that progress. The evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar, who identified the cognitive limit of roughly 150 people in a stable human social group, has spent years studying the specific role of shared meals in social bonding. His conclusion is striking. Eating together is, by his measurements, one of the single most powerful bonding activities available to humans. More effective than most other social activities at building trust, strengthening relationships, and producing the felt sense of belonging to something. We have quietly engineered it out of daily life. The average British adult now eats alone for more than half of all meals. American data shows the same pattern. Desk lunches are the professional norm. Meal delivery services have industrialized the individual portion. The family dinner, the last surviving image of communal eating in the popular imagination, is, by most sociological measures, in serious structural decline. The consequences are not subtle. Loneliness, clinically measured, formally documented, has risen in almost every wealthy country over the same period that solitary eating has normalized. The UK appointed a minister for loneliness in 2018. The US Surgeon General issued a formal advisory on a loneliness epidemic in 2023. Researchers who study social isolation consistently identify it as a health risk comparable in magnitude to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. We solved the logistical problems of eating and produced the loneliest populations in the history of our species. Here's the part that should stop you. We haven't stopped wanting to eat together. We've just stopped building lives that make it happen. The restaurant industry is one of the largest on Earth. People pay significant amounts of money to eat in the presence of other people. When researchers ask what contributes most to people's sense of connection and happiness, shared meals appear near the top, not as a prompted answer, but as something people arrive at themselves. The hunger is still there, it never left. We just dismantled the architecture that used to satisfy it automatically as a byproduct of daily life, without anyone having to plan it, pay for it, or schedule it 3 weeks in advance. For almost all of human history, you ate with people because there was no other way. The shared meal was not a choice. Social bonding happened inside it, the way plants grow toward whatever light is available. The structure created the connection without anyone deciding to connect. We removed the structure, and then we prescribed antidepressants for the people left standing in the dark wondering why they felt so alone. Tonight somewhere, someone is eating a meal they ordered to their apartment, alone, watching a screen, in a building full of people they have never spoken to. And somewhere else, people are sitting around a table longer than they planned, talking about things that didn't come up during the day, in the particular ease that only happens when food and people and time occupy the same place at once. Both of them are running the same social hardware every human who has ever lived was running. One of them is eating.